evening and welcome to the final ThinkIn of the year. I did the first one and I'm going to do the last one. It's a festive drinking. We would like it to be all together in person in the newsroom, mince pies, chit chat, maybe even some champagne. But actually, as it is, we're all separate and sorrowfully at home. And these are the snacks. I've opened the bottle of Malbec that Christmas Cat, you may be able to see on screen, noted. Is that the bottle of wine that's been in the kitchen since I joined the company? Can confirm, yes, it is. That's where we're reduced to. And the snacks, the catering for this evening is this catering size family jar of mini cheddars. I hope you've all got nicer drinks than I have. But this is where we are. Yesterday was the Tortoise team Christmas party, and we're all feeling a bit delicate, but we're thrilled to be here. And thank you very much for joining us. We've got some treats lined up. It's going to be a bit silly, as always. We want to talk to you, hear from you, see you. If you are a tortoise, by which I mean if you are in paid employment by the company, you must have your camera on, except if you're Connor, because you're running the tech and that just might throw everything. So I would love to see your faces and be on standby because I'm going to come and talk to you. There is only one person who is fitting to open the proceedings this evening, because we had some rather big and very exciting news yesterday about a genius, a positive genius who is in our midst, my very dear colleague, whose name is Nimo, because there was something of an announcement in the basement of a probably not very nice London hotel. Hi, Nimo.
Hi.
Tell us what you are now.
I might just be the new journalist of the year.
Can you even imagine? New journalist of the year, there you are. Like a sort of Oscar winner with your amazing dress, and even the lighting was matched to you. We're so proud and thrilled. What a fantastic achievement. Just tell us a little bit about why you won. What brilliant thing did you do? I mean, we obviously know, but just go on.
So earlier in the year, I like the investigation, the reporting that I'd been doing about a story about a 12-year-old refugee who drowned in Manchester called Shukri Abdi. The podcast for that came out. I was working with Basha and Matt Russell, and it was a long time coming. It's the story that got me to Tortoise in the first place. It's like my Tortoise origin story, if you will. And it's, you know, like when I first started writing about it at the beginning of 2020, when there was no COVID and I was still at uni, Basha saw something that I'd written and contacted me, and it all like went from there. And the story was just meant so much to me. I'd spent like a year reporting it and looking into it and trying to figure out exactly what had happened and why. And it was a really complicated and difficult story, but like it was the fact that Tortoise gave me the space to keep reporting it, even though there were moments where I was like, this is a brick wall, I'm not going to get anywhere, I'm not going to finish it. But I did, and it was amazing, and it was a really like fruitful piece of reporting, and I'm glad that it helped people get some clarity about what happened and the complicated and difficult nature of death and grief and racism in this country. Yeah.
I'm so thrilled. It was an amazing piece of reporting. And actually, if we're clever enough and quick enough, we should dig out a link so that if people haven't listened to the podcast, they can go back and listen to it now. So well done. Nimo, what are you doing for Christmas?
I'm going home to Coventry. Yeah, spend a week and a half with my family and then promptly come back to London for New Year's Eve.
Yeah, indeed. Absolutely. Make sure the train is booked. Well, congratulations again. We're really thrilled, honestly. It's such an amazing achievement. And as I said to you in my WhatsApp this morning, career supercharger, but you must not leave. Nimo, have a good rest of the holidays, and we'll see you again soon. We did it, I said at the beginning, I did the first ThinkIn of the year, which was, and I think some of the people who are on this ThinkIn were also there. I was in the bedroom at the flats in London. We did predictions. And when we launched Tortoise, I can remember standing with James in the funny cafe of the basement of Dallington Street, our first office, and we were writing some copy. And one of the bits of copy that we wrote was, we will admit that when we get it wrong. And so it seems only fitting that we go back and have a little look at what we said we thought was going to happen this year. And admittedly, there's still 3 weeks left, so could be a bit previous, but we've put together a little combination of the things we thought were going to happen and to see if we were right. So stand by, tortoises, because here comes the shame.
I believe the metaverse is the next chapter for the internet.
Hello, a very warm welcome from Berlin.
Marks and Spencer is planning to cut 7,000 staff.
A robot.
Welcome back to many of you to this evening's ThinkIn, to Tortoise, and indeed to 2021. I am Liz Moseley. It's lovely to see some familiar names popping up in the chat. What we're going to try and do this evening is have a bit of a whistle-stop tour of what we think is going to happen, which of course is preposterous because nobody's got any idea, but it's kind of fun anyway, and it will just ease us into our programme of ThinkIns. What will happen in terms of polling lead by the end of the year? Tell us about that, because I didn't like it, Matt.
No, I'm not saying I like it either. I just think that it's more likely than not that the Conservatives will end the year ahead in the polls.
I thought my one big concrete one was the Christian Democrats, the right, will win in Germany. Angela Merkel. I have an accumulator bet on business, which is that M&S breaks up, food and clothing, that there are bids for BP, Rolls-Royce and Channel 4, and that the central banks intervene on cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin to reduce their value. That probably Boris Johnson is worried most about is that Nicola Sturgeon wins convincingly in May. Scout, give it a rest.
Scout's not happy with that idea.
I didn't have any of the good explanations that Matt and James have had. It's not based on anything other than kind of seeing a tweet and thinking, yeah, I agree. I think that Lawrence Fox, actor, now head of Reclaim, his free speech party, he's going to run for London Mayor. I think he's going to run for London Mayor.
Is this stuff going to happen? I mean, I have to say, I can't see there being a Glastonbury. I wish I didn't think that, but my prediction would be there won't be a Glastonbury in 2021. It'll be 2022.
That's kind of on the boring side of things. But they're also going to launch things like, they're working on a home robot, which can actually literally do your ironing for you. Now that might come next year.
Like wearing a little apron like they used to in the old days.
It's called Vestra. It's quite sweet. They've made it look quite sweet.
They're just advertising Oculus by Facebook so much more than in the past. And I think there's been something going on with the people stuck at home and looking for a new way to get into sort of different visual experiences, watching movies and playing games. And I think this might be the catalyst for it going properly mainstream, seeing sort of VR headsets in lots of living rooms around the world.
James has predicted the sort of breaking up of M&S into food and non-food. I kind of said, I think we're going to see half of the big M&S stores go, but maybe the popping up of smaller ones, M&S lingerie, M&S kids, in the way that they've sort of done M&S home, M&S food, maybe. I also was willing to stick my neck out and say I think Harvey Nichols will close all of the Harvey Nicholses apart from the London flagship. I think that's just clear, because how can you possibly make a Harvey Nichols store in Birmingham and Leeds pay its way? I don't know. I do think COP will result in legally binding targets on emissions, because I feel like by that part of by that end of the year, the world will just need something. Otherwise, we're all going to give up and give in. So I'm really sorry about that, but we were slightly more wrong than we were right. But we are going to do the predictions again on the 10th of January, but this time we would really like you all to help us, because clearly we don't know what we're talking about apart from Claudia. So if Claudia could mainly do, actually Matt was right. Matt's big call at the beginning was right. So that was good. In fact, Matt, let's have a chat with you about Boris. I know we've talked a bit about Boris. I don't want to dominate the thing.
What do you want to know, Liz?
Well, the Telegraph says it's the beginning of the end, and I don't know. Maybe on January the 10th.
No.
Let's predict what your prediction's going to be.
Well, you want me to? How meta is that? You want to go? You want me to predict what my prediction will be?
Yes.
Well, I still think the problem is the fundament. I mean, look, it's a dog's breakfast. It's horrible. He's lied to everyone. There's no doubt there's been a change in the mood. People are very, 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 very pissed off about this party thing. I mean, hypocrisy really annoys people. It's really odd, actually. One thing I've learned this year is that people no longer care about lies for some reason. Lies are okay, but hypocrisy really gets their goat. So that it has been bad. But at the same time, there isn't a really serious contender yet in the Tory ranks to challenge him. And Labour is not yet in a position to overturn an 80-seat majority. So boring as that is, I still think that we're going to have quite a bit more of him. You know.
What about Jackie Hillary? I've just noticed in the chat, Boris will have another 6 or 7 children, because we can't pin him down to a definite number.
I think it's a minimalist number.
Yeah,
I mean, I'd say at least.
Yeah.
Because this seems to be his also, like, everyone. Have you noticed that things creep into general language? Like Linton Crosby used to use this expression, throw a dead cat onto the table when there's a bad story. And suddenly that sort of entered the mainstream, and people say, oh, it's a dead cat. It's not a story, it's a dead cat. And at the risk of sounding even more tasteless than I usually do, I think that this baby has is the ultimate dead cat, because it's like, it's incredible that only Boris and Carrie could have a child in the middle of a political crisis. I mean, how's that done? I'm not sure it's worked, by the way, because most of the media were not falling for that. You know, it's sort of item 5. We're not having that. You know, it's people have got wise to it now, that when he's in trouble, he produces a child. It's like once bitten, twice shy. It's very interesting. But so I think the babies will keep coming, and we also, let's not forget, there are still babies who are presumably now children, infants, fathers of 5 themselves, to come out of the woodwork. So, you know, hold on to your hats, because Boris has been producing babies for quite some time now, and we don't know about them all.
Matt, is it a boy baby or a girl baby?
It's a girl baby.
Oh, how lovely! Congrats, you guys.
Well, it's yeah. I mean, there isn't. It's funny because there's barely the normal outpouring of saccharine pretend congratulations on social media. I mean, there's sort of, you know, the nice people like Jess Phillips have said, you know, congratulations to the liar in chief and his wife on their happy news. But most people have just said, you know, that's nothing to do with us.
Mm.
People are very, very I mean, the mood is so different. Last year, people were incredibly just exhausted and tired and sad because Christmas was going to be really, really constrained. And this year, which has been harder, I think, than people might have predicted given the vaccine, it has been hard in lots of ways. I mean, it's been good. We've made massive progress, but it has been hard. I think people have come to Christmas 2021 and thought, oh, you know, you are a caution, and the party has become, you know, oddly enough, the biggest political story for a very long time. You know, you know, who knew that it would knock things like Hancock's affair off the sort of top story of political story of the year and so on. It's really, really big. It's really got under people's skin.
Matt, what are you doing at Christmas?
Well, I'll probably be sitting here in front of a lot of books, just waiting for a Zoom call from someone, because it's just become so natural to me. No, I'll be with my boys, and it'll be very nice. I'm looking forward to it.
Nice. Well, I hope you have a very happy
and
healthy Christmas. I know I don't know I can talk to Alexi because I think he's still poorly, but I want to talk to James Harding. Have you put a Christmas, or what's your Christmas name? I can't see the whole of it.
It's Christmas party. It's like I'm a little Christmas party unto myself.
Oh, do you know what? You really
I'm
are.
invited. And also, in a moment of rare honesty, this is a cheese and wine meeting that is actually a Christmas party.
It literally is. It literally is. James, I'm sorry about our predictions. We were the worst.
I thought we did brilliant. You see, the thing that you're wrong about, Liz, is that I looked at all of that and I thought, well, we were basically right about everything. I mean, do you know what I mean? There were a couple of wrinkles, but basically, directionally right.
Directionally right.
Yeah, that's what I say.
In fact, very wrong.
Yeah, I had an old editor once who used to describe, he said, I don't understand why that's on the front page. That's not really a scoop. He said, it's a scoop of interpretation. I was like, oh, that's right. So we were factually wrong, but directionally very
absolutely right. On the money.
Yeah.
James, I haven't told you I'm going to do this, but you're going to do a quiz now. We're going to play a quiz, you and me.
I don't have the fact gene. I don't know anything.
It's okay. It's not that sort of a quiz. Okay. Because I want to do, just before we went for our Christmas lunch yesterday, we sat and did a little presentation here in the newsroom just to kind of remind ourselves of the 12 months that we've just been through as a team and all the things we've done and what have you. And it made us all feel moderately exhausted, but also quite proud because there were some good things. And I just thought it might be quite nice, and I'd love to hear from people watching as well, some of the kind of best bits, things that you really liked. But the way we're going to do this, James, is you're going to have to guess what I think the best bits were of Tortoise. It is multiple choice. And if you guess correctly what I have selected to have been the best bit, you get to nominate your own best bit. Understand?
Lovely. It's like a sort of prize-free Tortoise Mr. and Mrs. or generation game.
Right. Absolutely right. Okay, so starting with the slow newscast. Which is the best slow newscast of the year? Here are the 4 contenders. Is it A, Sweet Bobby, B, Cross Stitch, C, Pariah, or D, Hidden Homicides? Remember, this is what I have selected. Yep.
Pariah.
Correct. Pariah by Kerry Thomas is in fact the best podcast. That means that you get to nominate one of your own. You can choose the same or you can do a different one.
What that I thought was
you particularly thought was outstandingly good.
Oh my God, that's hard. God, how long does this thing go on? Can I have? I don't know. I would go with a weird. What did I love? Well, I loved all of those 4, but given that I can't help but sort of, what 4 did you offer?
Sweet Bobby, Cross Stitch, Pariah, Hidden Homicides.
Oh, I would have. Oh man, I would choose, but weirdly, I would choose between Left to Die.
Yeah.
Because I thought that was just a story that was unbelievably vivid. I thought Matt's thing, that 11 Days in August, that cobble thing.
That was very good. That was very good.
That was a hell of a listen. And weirdly, you know what? I think that there's something going on in the stories that aren't stories. The stories aren't classic news stories in a sort of the place for Elliot's where it never makes the news, but it only makes the news in a newsroom like ours. So I'm not choosing, I'm not helping you at all here, am I?
I think that's good. It's just a fun way to remember.
Okay, sorry, I should be. It's fun, isn't it?
We've got some, exactly. It's just for fun.
Just try and be fun. You're saying, please, just for 2 minutes, try and be fun.
And the lots of votes for.
I'm really trying.
Yeah.
What?
Bobby. Cross Stitch is getting a lot of votes. Actually, Phoebe, you've gone for Cross Stitch. I'm surprised. Phoebe?
K2 was very good.
Oh, K2.
The joint enterprise thing from Dave. God, we did millions.
Oh, yeah, that was amazing. The John Crilly thing. Phoebe, come on, Cross Stitch. Let's unput. There we go.
There you go. Always going to reverb, so you might have to mute James. I think we're in the same room. No, I really love Cross Stitch. I thought that was great. I thought John Crilly was great. I think Dave's done some fantastic podcasts and kind of stories, and I think John Crilly's story was amazing. He kind of led through so well, and it was just this incredible story. And it kind of didn't go where you expected it to go. I think that was great. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed cross stitch. I really enjoyed the kind of small town, you know, the kind of comings and goings of that. And yeah, definitely agree. Although yeah, clearly Sweet Bobby is kind of the one to finish the year. So love that too.
There's an unbelievable variety actually. When you start thinking about it, there's an unbelievable variety. I feel like we've learned a lot. I don't know if Kerry or Basher are on, because these are the people who
Corinna.
Led Corinna and the King was good. Corinna and the King was good. And then was the Roe, the Son of Afghanistan one, which had a good crying on the bus on the way to work, was extraordinary. I don't, if Kerry or Basher are here, I'd love to talk to them about, because these are the people that have been kind of up against it, trying to churn these things out on a weekly basis. I don't know if they're here. Maybe they aren't. Can we find Kerry or Basher? They're probably in the podcast studio trying to get next week's slow news.
Yeah, you know, that whole thing fell over. Did you hear about that? Where's Claudia?
No, really?
Yeah, she hasn't slept for 2 days.
Oh God.
Because she seemed to have lost it. I think she's sitting behind me. Yeah, there she is. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to comment on, well, I am now commenting, aren't I, really? But she lost the whole of the next week's slow newscast somewhere down the back of a sofa.
Oh no,
Do
that
you
is
want to talk about this, Claudia?
They're not letting me unmute myself.
Oh yeah.
I can't believe you told the entire Zoom that call, and then I wasn't allowed to unmute myself. It's found, it's all good, everything's fine. But it was I would say a slightly stressful Wednesday morning. That was resolved.
I heard you on the phone earlier on saying, I just think maybe I didn't press, and I just thought, I don't know what that sound, doesn't sound good, but it's all right, you found it.
Yeah, everything's all right. My laptop crashed, but we have backups, it's all fine. Very professional.
Hey Claudia, congratulations on your prediction.
Thanks. Yeah, thank you. Although I have to say, I've not heard anything about him since, so I don't know whether he was just on my Twitter algorithm for the first half of the year, and second half he's dropped off.
The algorithm obviously is targeting you because it thinks you're a sort of free speech anti-vax men's rights campaigner. They've obviously got that really bang on.
Yes,
well, we'll be looking to you to keep us accurate in the January prediction thinking on the 10th. So do please use your Christmas holiday wisely. Are you going up north for Christmas?
Yes, I am. I'm going to be going home at the end of next week or beginning of the week after. So I'm very excited, and I'm going to be there for a good stint of time.
Excellent. We'll have a brilliant time, and I'm very glad we found the podcast because it was embarrassing. Right, James, next question. You ready?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. This time, slow views. Which of the following is my favourite slow view of the year? Is it A, Simon Barnes on grass? B, Simon Barnes on bats? C, Simon Barnes on sewage? Or D, Simon Barnes on butterflies?
Such a shame we couldn't get anyone else to write for us.
I know, it was difficult, but he was good, so.
He was good, but it was good to have the one. I would go with, well, this is, I've got to say, I thought grass by a mile because the use of the word sward, which I'd never.
James, you're right. It was that one. And do you know what? I've totally changed my approach to lawn mowing as a consequence.
That's funny because people talk a lot about the Moseley approach to lawn mowing. What's Moseley 2.0 now?
Only do half.
That's amazing.
Leave the far end, which is more difficult anyway. Just leave that.
But it's so funny because they didn't get to legally binding targets at COP, but with what you're doing.
No, I think probably net.
You've probably done it. You've 1.5. We're there.
Everyone can relax. Get back in your car, no problem. You get to pick a slow view. You get to pick a piece.
Oh, crap.
I know, and that's harder because there's more of them.
I thought it's not fair because all the columns, I'm not going to cheat because that's pushing. All of our existing columnists are great. I loved, oh God, I know I'm really trying to be fun, Liz. I'm really trying, but this is
I'm enjoying watching you try.
I'm really trying. So I'm going to say this in a kind of Christmassy way, but I thought that Philip Bobbitt on 20 years since 9/11 was
to be fair, was very good. I think that's a good choice. I do. That's a good choice. In fact, James Wilson, I know you've got COVID, But as the man in the engine room, James Wilson, for people who haven't, you do talk on ThinkIn's a fair bit and sometimes on Twitter Spaces, but James is the person who takes the writing from whatever random Google Doc or WhatsApp or something that's been done and then makes it so that it appears on the website. So a fairly critical link in the chain, I'd say, James. You've done all of these slow views pretty much. They've all somehow passed your fair hand eye situation. What would
If
you
that's
pick?
what you want to call it, yeah. Yeah, I've had a great deal of help from Ellen and Lara, who are both fantastic and written many slow views themselves. Yeah, and we've had some great output, as well as Simon Barnes, who's obviously the best. We've got our very own Matt Dancona. Giles always does some fantastic slow views. I think we've got one coming from him tomorrow as well. Yeah, and we've done, I don't know, over 250 at least this year, and they're all fantastic.
I would also like to say, Liz, can I also say Anand, of course.
Oh yeah, that was amazing. Yeah, it was extraordinary. The
missing note. Do you remember that piece? The missing note.
Yeah. It was that was another tearjerker actually. It really was. He's an amazing man, I thought. Well, because he edited that ThinkIn for us, James. Do you remember? And I called him, and because he's obviously sort of, one of these just massively brainy, influential people, I just didn't expect him to have such a strong Wakefield accent. It really took me by surprise, and I love a northern accent, and so we spent the first 10 minutes of the briefing call talking about Wakefield, which put me at ease. There's some good votes here. Giles is on the bear, which was only a couple of weeks ago. Do you remember that one, James? That Giles is on. If we can find Giles, I'd love to speak to Giles.
Oh yes, Giles on Brexit supermarkets.
Yeah,
that was great. God, that was furious.
Really good.
Oh, Phil Collins, yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Oh my God! By the way, just going back, Giles is Russia from Russia with Diamonds podcast.
Yeah, it was really
the best
good.
movie. The helicopter onto the roof. Oh,
yeah,
the whole thing. The trying to buy a place in Tahoe for $12 million and not being able to find one, I particularly liked.
Yeah. What do they do with the money? They spent it. The guy
spent it, Giles. That's the mystery. We've got to the bottom of it right here.
Yeah, it was very, very good. Okay, next one. Best ThinkIn. Was it A, Tracy Thorne? Was it B, Caitlin Moran? Was it C, Georgia Pritchett? Or was it D, inflation, what now?
I think we both know the answer to that, don't we? I think the weird thing is I don't see why we did the other ones.
Yeah, we should just do inflation all the time, I think.
Why don't we just do inflation? And sometimes we could do money supply, and then we could do monetary policy, and we could have a whole collection. It could be like a Quality Street box of inflation ThinkIns.
Do you know what, James? As the founder of this company, you could make that happen. You really could.
2022 people, we're going to be looking at we're going to look at the whole RPI basket, item by item, through the course of January, February, and March. I think you're going to love it.
I can see so many little faces on my screen. They're all just smiling and shaking their heads.
Thank goodness.
Mainly Diana, what about Hanukkah, is the main head shaking. Of this voting. It was very good. I'm going to bring in, so I would like to chat to some people who's voting. Quite a lot of votes for Michael Morpurgo, quite a lot of votes for Georgia Pritchett,
Michael Morpurgo.
William Jeremy, I can't, we almost can't literally do a ThinkIn without a contribution from my friend William. No longer in the cupboard, now released into a different room. Are you there, William?
I am, yes.
So you think Michael Morpurgo was the best?
Because I got a spotlight now, and I had to rush back from taking my wife to her Christmas do. So
that's very noble of you.
I'm now back, and yes, the Christmas ThinkIn.
And do you think Michael Morpurgo really was the best?
Well, of course, it was certainly a moment of my life which I will treasure forever.
Oh.
Because, both the question and Matt's brilliant chairing and explanation to Michael that I had not been rude or sort of slightly dismissive, but I had been asking a question out of the ether, and that was very, very funny, because you got a glimpse of Michael's old-fashionedness and kind of slightly schoolmastery thing. And you know, and Matt called him a magus, which is just a perfect word, because you know,
it was completely spellbinding. He's obviously such a mega brain, and yet somehow so warm and accessible. I didn't quite know what to expect, but it was a really lovely way to spend an hour. It felt like a privilege actually to be in his company. And he enjoyed it too, which is always nice, because when these people come in, they're quite often a bit nervous, or you know, if it's a digital one, they're just sort of sitting there in their house or in their office, and you can really tell when somebody's enjoying it. And when he left, he said, "I've had such a lovely time, and let me know if I can do it." You know, it makes us feel nice when we look after people like that, which is lovely. And William, what are you doing for Christmas? Oh, we need to unmute him again. Can we unmute William? There we go.
Oh yes, we are boxing and packing up and going into the loft, because on 2nd of January we are relocating from West Kent to Somerset.
I knew this was coming.
Kind of, it's gone from, you know, an idea that was floated some time ago, to testing the market, to a buyer pulling out, to then a buyer saying, yes, we want the house, which is just south of Sevenoaks, between Sevenoaks and Maidstone. And so,
William,
yes, it's kind of happening. So we're moving west to be closer to my wife's daughter in Plymouth and my folks in South Wales. And, you know, so we're moving west of the 25. But because of all this, I can still be, you know, with you guys, because you know.
Well, that's good. William, good luck. It's very stressful moving house. I've done it myself this year. So all the very best. It feels good when you get sort of in the car and on the way and you know you're actually doing it. I sort of never quite believe it until that happens. But good luck. Have a lovely Christmas, and thank you so much for all your contributions. You may be making a surprise appearance later in the ThinkIn. I will say no more. Katie Vanek-Smith, Katie Angel Vanek-Smith, my boss and dear friend. Hi, Katie. Oh, you're at home.
I am, yeah.
Best bits of the year.
Best bits?
Yeah.
We know what the answer to this question is. It's a speechless James Harding, when one of our members revealed her own experience of a party with Ghislaine Maxwell.
It was quite something, wasn't it? And
I've never seen James lost for words. I mean, James is never lost for words, but that was an awkward 3 minutes.
I think he's still cringing. I can see it in his face. Katie, just tell us what if you were going to pick your we'll talk a little bit with you and James about what, you know, a little bit about 2022 in a sec. But if you were going to pick your favorite, you know, bit of editorial, a written piece, a slow newscast, what would you go for? What's made you think, yes, that's the tortoise that I thought I was coming to run?
God, there's so many moments. I mean, obviously ThinkIn with James Harding, no one's mentioned, so I feel I have to. So I've mentioned it. And then I would come back to probably those moments where our journalism really does what we set out to do. So someone mentioned Son of Afghanistan. So Ro joining Tortoise through the community network, which is funded by all of you members, actually funding other people. With every membership you buy to Tortoise, we fund memberships for those who can't afford to buy them. And Ro was a recipient. He came to a ThinkIn. He shared his experience of being a refugee from the Taliban. And we followed up and did a slow newscast with him in August, I believe, Son of Afghanistan. The follow-up to the work that Ella Hill worked on with Chris Cook around campus justice, and seeing the
that was amazing.
Yeah, the step down of the head of Trinity College off the back of our investigation. Alexei, Zav, and Patricia. Zav with his ninja skills of you know, finding Bert Bergmeyer and outing the porn king in a way where slow news got to make the news. So many moments, but it's I think I'm most proud of us collectively when our members come to ThinkIn, share their experiences. We hear stories in our newsroom, we follow up with things, and we stick with the stories that matter. That's when I'm most proud of you all.
I agree. That rose story, you sort of almost couldn't. It's like you design it in a brand workshop and think, oh, we'll never quite manage to make that happen. But we really did. I can't not come to Dave Stollen Taylor. Thank you for correcting us, by the way, on Trinity Hall, not Trinity College. Dave.
Yes, hello.
So what the people who aren't Tortoise staff members might not realise is that Dave is what is the official title of the leader of Bread Club?
I don't know. It's a very flat structure, so we think of ourselves as comrades in bread. So I think there's no leaders.
But you are that. I mean, Dave is an excellent baker. Do you bake bread, or do you bake everything?
I mostly bake bread. I'm making pizzas tonight, if that counts. But no, we have had I suppose underneath the radar, we've had Tortoise Bread Club, where 17 members of our newsroom have baked bread on Zoom calls as if we didn't have enough of them in this year. And last week we made stollen, and there was about 12 loaves of stollen popped out in different ovens across the whole country, really. So yeah, it's been amazing. It's like it is literally the most wholesome thing you can imagine. We have a crazy WhatsApp group.
There must be a way for us to have a bread club that involves members and not just there must be a way that we can do that. Nod your head if you remember and you'd be into joining a Tortoise Bread Club. Nodding, mainly from Phoebe. Perhaps we'll make it an in-house team. And everybody in Bread Club's very happy when they've done a bread club.
I mean, it's an amazing sense of achievement. We've, I keep saying, I lived in New York for a few years, and if I knew then what I know now, I would have fucking taken New York. I mean, bagels, they're easy. Bao buns, they're really easy. It's all there. So I think, we've had a great sense of achievement, and it's been just a lovely antidote from work. Parathas were very good. We have not made stotty cake. That is a good thought from Chris McHugh. We should do that.
That's a good
And
thought.
we should probably do, we should do it in the quarterly. I mean, I feel like it should, we probably need a members advisory council. I mean, you can already, like, our marketing for Christmas is pretty strong. We've gathered the whole collection of 10 Bread Club recipes together in one glittering Google file, and you can have those. And then I think in the new year we're thinking of master classes with new journalist of the year. Nimmo is I mean, her day actually started yesterday with her seeded sourdough up on a highlights of the year reel in the office.
What a day of achievement.
Big day.
It was a big day. Well, it was excellent, I thought. Dave, what are you doing for Christmas?
We're going up north to Newcastle on Christmas Eve, and so spending some time with my mum up there, and then Newcastle United and Man United, I think, on the 27th. It'll be horrible, but has to be done.
Are you one of those people with a football tradition?
I am, sort of, yeah, and it's I mean, I'm like the only Remainer in Sunderland. I'm the only Newcastle fan who hates the fuck. I must stop swearing. Hates the Saudi deal. It's a bad thing.
Well, Dave, have a very merry Christmas, and thank you very much for all the bread. Now, I'm not a member of Bread Club because I'm very, very untalented and I have absolutely no patience, so I can't make bread. But I am ideologically a supporter of Bread Club. I am not, however, ideologically a supporter of the Hares, John Hill. John Hill is sort of creative director who designs everything with a team of very talented and lovely designers. And he himself is a very nice man, but he is also a dictator.
Dictator? Wow.
Yes. Tell us about the Hares, this awful thing that you've created.
Well, oh, come on, that's not fair. The Hares, we started during lockdown, 36 of us on Strava, the app where you can record your running. So we were all remote working, running around the fields and streets where we live locally, and it's been a real joy to get back into the office a little bit and get round. I've just seen all sorts of
chat coming up. Get round the Regent's Park. This week, only 2 of us managed to get out because it was raining. Whereas Dave's Bread Club obviously suits this time of year much better with, I think, 19 and counting people. Did you
Who was the other one? Who was the other?
Seb.
Oh, scampering
Jones.
really quick.
Yeah. So the hares, we need to come back stronger in January, guys. But yeah, it's good. It's a good gang. It's a good gang.
Are you at home for Christmas, John?
Well, like everyone else, it seems like everyone is going up north. So my in-laws are in the northwest, so I'll be heading up there Christmas Eve for a few days, back down south. We were going to go to France for New Year's, but we pulled out of that because of all this COVID palaver. So yeah, shame.
Happy time with the fam.
Yeah, thank you.
I don't really think you're a dictator.
Thank you. I mean, a little bit.
You'd think I'd be able to do either bread or running, but no, I can't do either. Mark, St Andrew. Yes, I know you're doing chat, but you've also done music, and I can see that Zebedee has said what a good job you've done on music.
Yes, thank you, Zebedee.
Sometimes I have to veto the music choices because I think they're a bit close to the bone. Is that I would say that's fair.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I'll admit some of them may have got me almost fired in the past, but I've had a few lucky escapes. But yeah,
what's been the closest? Rubber Ball was quite bad.
Rubber Ball was quite bad. There was for the Boris Johnson one, we almost had Bad Guy, a cover of Bad Guy by Billie Eilish, which I found by a punk band called The Interrupters. But I thought that would kind of be sort of leading the witnesses slightly.
A little bit.
Yeah, but it's something we have a lot of fun with, and everyone's always got an opinion on what we should play, and I listen to all of the opinions, and then I pick something that I think will work. The AI Summit is the hardest one to find because everyone's like, oh, get some AI generated music, and most AI generated music sounds absolutely bloody awful. So we've got like 8 songs that we use on quite heavy repetition for anything AI or sort of tech states related. But yeah, it's one of the fun bits of my job.
You know that James isn't going to let us do another Eurovision ThinkIn.
I think he will do, like, in the future. I've just got to pick my moment, like when Eurovision gets really political and when inflation starts to bite on Eurovision. I think I can find the angle for it.
You think you can find the angle for it? You think you might have to wait till like James is drunk and then see if he can sneak it in under the radar?
Yeah, James, do you want to go to the pub next week?
I saw James give the thumbs up. It wasn't a thumbs up, it was this. It's a very different message.
James, I'll take you to the pub next week and we can talk about it.
Thank you, Mark, for all your assistance. Now, I'm noticing the fact it's already 7:15, and we've got to play the bloopers reel, and that's 7 minutes long. So, such have been the volume of bloopers that have occurred this year. But I wanted to just say there's a bunch of people, you see us on screen all the time, see me, see James, see Giles, Matt, but there's a little crew of people that you very rarely see. One of them, who is Tortoise ThinkIn or ThinkIn, is Liv. She's not here today because it's her 15-year wedding anniversary and she's gone away for a night with her husband, which frowned upon, but we do understand. But there are a couple of tech people and my little ThinkIn team, and a whole bunch of people who sort of lift chairs and check things and travel on trains. And we're going to just show you some photographs of the things that they've done over the course of the year, because we make them do all kinds of evil things. I mean, I was sent to a helicopter factory in Yeovil and I thought that was quite bad, but they don't get to stay in very fancy hotels. And there's poor Liv, looks very sad. But here they are kind of lifting and carrying and eating a burger in the middle of the night. I don't think we included in here the photograph of Connor, who is our main tech director, eating a McDonald's in what can only be described as a bin in a gutter in Glasgow, to try and make COP happen. But we sort of decide to do things that we've never done before all the time. We're only a startup, and there's a team of people who just pull out all the stops that you didn't know were stops. They pull them out to make these things happen. And I just want to say a very big and hearty well done and thank you to everyone behind the scenes. I'm not going to try and list them all because I'm bound to miss somebody, but Connor and George, who are the tech people, press the right buttons. Oh, look, if you look at Katie Angel Van Eck's screen, she's showing a photograph. Is that today, Katie, or is that the actual wedding? Oh, that's today. She can still get her wedding dress on. That's really amazing. I definitely can't. So I just want to say thank you very much to everyone behind the scenes, the unsung heroes who do all the shit bits to make all the good bits at the front end look amazing. James, I'm conscious we've only probably got about 5 minutes before we play the film, but tell us a bit about 2022, because we've been going for 3 years. Seems like we're going to go for another 3.
And then do we get to stop?
And then we get to have a lie down at least.
That's very
But
good.
what we've obviously we've done tons of stuff, like I said, that we've never done before. We've learnt loads. We're kind of in our groove now. We're very obviously thrilled to have sort of made it this far. But what next?
I think that we are, firstly, thank you, Liz, right? Because in all of this, when do we get to do the bit where we say thank you, Liz? I mean, chiefly for going to Yeovil and doing that particular gig, but for the fact that you, like, more than anyone, somehow managed to embody that thing of being warm and open and interested and kind of animated and caring, and you're amazing. So thank you. What are we going to do next? We are going to, I think more than anything, I think next year we're going to try and do the things that we know we want to do and do them better. So it feels like we've talked a lot about all of our podcasts, but we've really hit on something, which is narrative investigations. How do you take a story that's this washing line, you follow one person, one family's, one issue story all the way through, but on that washing line, you hang a whole load of things that reveal the way the world really is. We feel like, and you and I talked about this, age, that we are a newsroom that's slow, yes, but more than that, open. But how do we really come good on that promise to our members, that we're really seeing our journalism informed, driven by our members, and that we do something that no one else does, that we make sure that our members really are needed for the journalism that we do. And I think that we have, not altogether in a kind of organized way, hit upon something with sense making. That is such a core part of what we do, and Giles and the gang do that brilliantly every day. But increasingly, whether it's around tech states or creative or accelerating net zero, we do that with a kind of greater depth and a greater detail, and I think more and more original news and information. We want to do more of that. So those are, I suppose, our 3 big things we're going to try and get right next year.
I'm looking forward to it. My job's going to change a bit, so I'm smiling to myself, as William said. I think Liz is the best members editor on the planet. William, I genuinely think I'm the only members editor on the planet. Really happy to make it to the top of that tree. But my first kind of project next year is this misogyny in the police investigation, and I've been really gobsmacked by the number of members who've come forward with stories that they want to share, being generous with their time and with their contacts and with their ideas, and that one is going to run for probably most of next year. If you haven't written to me and you'd like to be part of it, on or off the record, please do let me know. I can see here this evening loads of familiar faces: Andrew, Jonathan Lass, Lindsay, I can see Nicola, I can see Louise. There's tons of you. Hello, everybody. And thank you genuinely to you all. It's been a bit on again, off again, I realise, particularly with ThinkIn, but your input and your ideas and your contributions, we genuinely, well, we couldn't do it without you, but also it just makes our life so much nicer to come on when you're staring down the barrel of a conversation with people that you're not quite sure if you know what you're talking about. In my case, that's most of the time. To see friendly faces, it kind of feels like you're in it together, and it just makes a real difference. So thank you very much to everybody for your support throughout the year. I hope you all have a safe and happy Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever celebration you're going to be having over the next few weeks. Oh, I can just see Lynn there as well. She's always in what looks like a sort of ancient pyramid. Hi, Lynn. I'm never quite sure exactly where she is, but probably not in an ancient pyramid. But thank you so much to you all. We're going to play the best of / bloopers film to remind us of kind of a year in Tortoise ThinkIn's. We are back, so there's still publishing in Tortoise. There'll be a podcast next week. There'll be stuff coming out over the Christmas period, but this is it for ThinkIn, and we're back on the 6th of January. So from me and from all the team here, thank you very much for your time this evening and all throughout the year. Have a lovely Christmas, and we will see you on the other side. Bye, gang.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our new newsroom, Tortoise's new newsroom on Berners Street.
My name is Liz Moseley.
My name's Kerry Thomas.
I'm Giles Whittell.
My name is Phoebe.
And I'm David.
I'm Alexi Mostras.
I'm Nimo.
I'm Matt Dancona.
My name is Hashi Mohammed.
Hi there.
Well, that was a good start.
I've done quite well here because I've done about 15 minutes without talking about me or men.
Yes.
They're quite good.
Is it man time now?
Yeah, let's go.
Ring the man bell. Ring the man bell. Ting, 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 ting.
I was thinking about meat puppets, ladies and gentlemen.
This woman came up to me and said, "Oh, would you be interested in some anti-aging cream?" And I said, "Yes, I would." And she said, "For your vagina." And I was like,
Tess is interested.
This one's 10 inches long.
George, if that ends up on the blooper reel, I will burn your house down.
I want a big tortoise. I want it big enough for me to sit on.
Like I say, James Harding, wherever you are, is this what you envisaged? And all of the investors, thank you so much for your money.
I mean, this thing, it really wants to come and play.
This shoe, the Jordan 3, was the shoe that created the Jumpman logo.
I can't believe he started with Britney Spears. Just genuinely can't believe it.
But only was able to find some out-of-date Guinness.
We want to live in a country where anyone can thrive, not depending on what school they're at.
They inspired us, they funded us, they sheltered us, they financed us, and then they abandoned us.
How can you not see somebody reading something you really like and you're like, can we talk about it? Can we talk about it?
You have male leaders on podiums at conferences being clapped and hailed as, "Oh, isn't he wonderful because he's not an arsehole."
No, I know that.
Oh my, I get really upset with UK entries.
You just think about national treasuries. It doesn't come with any funding, does it? That's the trouble.
You know, you can't legislate virtue.
And so interoperability would allow us to move not just our data, but our actual full experience from network to network.
If you see people, that's how change happens.
I don't think it's right for us at present to really encourage our customers to get involved in crypto.
And I wanted to say, yeah, but you're still saying the word, aren't you, David?
It's not understood that they arrived here as citizens, that being a citizen of Empire made you a citizen of Britain.
But for much of the world, this pandemic is far from being over.
We're looking at whether we can take that further through private rental housing with some affordability mix.
I agree with you. The power of social movements is really important.
Redressing the imbalance about resilience, removing the nonsense description of resilience that we currently have.
The truth can prevail.
Writing some songs, making an album, putting the album out, promoting the album, going on a tour, taking a little break, then doing the same thing again.
He had spaghetti bolognese twice. I can't believe the government looks back on the decision to do the 1% as being the right thing.
There's a 2-year project to make this fabric that's made out of 32 half-litre plastic bottles.
Possibly design.
No, it's very difficult for bands to be full democracy.
We are very badly in need of a compute revolution.
And so what happened was that line between the sane and the insane became blurred.
Like the science lesson at school, so we just give it something like that. Probably.
This fellow again to breadcrumb, and you can see that when I don't know if you can.
I'm here in Heathrow, Exhibit A of how we need behavioural change.
Well done, James. Your Wi-Fi in the London airport's better than ours in the newsroom. Make of that what you will.
Welcome to the Tortoise AI Summit. To the Tortoise Responsibility Business Summit.
To the Tortoise Climate Summit.
To this, our second Future of Cities Summit.
We're into the next session of today's Future of Cars Summit.
So, as we just heard from Tom, cybercriminals don't all wear hoodies.
I don't think we need to let anybody else in because this is a party. You're going to go off mute.
Do you want to unmute? If you take yourself off mute, well, Billy, you might want to unmute yourself.
He's on mute, everyone. My God, cop has really killed him. Head attack.
Welcome to the New York Times Hub at COP26. We're delighted to be sharing this space with the New York Times. It is without question the grooviest space at COP.
Hello everybody, welcome, and thank you for joining us here this morning on what's quite a grey and soon to be, I think, very wet and dreich morning in Glasgow.
I'm already hoping that we'll be in Cairo next year. Thank you. And for the biro.
It boggles my mind that there's no explicit consent manager in the formula Google.
The way ministers declare their hospitality is different to the way MPs have to declare their hospitality.
I mean, my solution for sorting out London would be probably to ban cars entirely.
In areas where there is risk biodiversity, technology can also maybe serve as a barrier.
He's less Bertie Wooster and more a little bit Harold Macmillan.
Where you kind of draw the distinction then when you're talking about these non-fiction events.
This is making massive waves.
Take it easy, go slow, and you'll go happy. Take it from a tortoise.